don't think most people are really getting what the vaccine is all about, other than it being the mark of the beast. It's true, it's absolutely for sure that it's the mark of the beast. But even William F. Kinney, who came up with that sort of theory, even he and I, because we talk a lot, he and I understand that it's not irreversible yet, because biblically, he reckons too that it has to go to what's called the immortal therapy, and that you take that with your own free will. But also, that said, that they can't biologically, I don't believe, even though I've seen the patents, and I know that there's a third synthetic strain of DNA in the vaccine, they can't actually put it all in one stage, which is part of the reason what the boosters are for, to get more and more into you. But there's so much going on with the vaccine. Like, most people know that in the vaccine patents, there's graphene oxide, which is a circuitry system. There's the operating system, which makes you into the transhumanism that they're ramming down our throat. But there's also the luciferase, which you can go and test right away with a black light. And there's synthetic DNA. Now, synthetic DNA has many different payouts for them. So one of the things that I don't think people understand, and the foundation of all this sort of understanding, is God's law. Now, it's clear in the Bible that there's a law that the devil and his minions, the elite, hate, absolutely despise, but they have to follow it, and it's mostly based on property law. Now, I'll give you an example of that, and I'll give you an example of how that plays over to the vaccine, and then everything else should be quite sort of easy to understand. If COVID taught us anything, it taught us that if the elite want to do anything, whether we want them to or not, they will, and they'll get away with it. So why have they never went? Because this is not about money at all, not at all, and we'll go into that in a bit. But why did they never take possession of the food chain, like the carrot or the cucumber or that breed of beef cattle? They didn't, because they couldn't. If they could, they would have. They've done everything else. But there's a law that God states, especially for his chosen, the white Europeans, where, how do I put this? They have to adhere to his law with his chosen. And everything has to be done with rules and law, including your free will. If they wanted to have forced every single one of us in every white country to take the vaccine, please believe me, they could have. But they couldn't, because of God's law. It had to be with our free will. It had to be, because that's God's law. Because we are God's property. And so it had to be done in law with our free will. And that's a thing that I don't think a lot of people are getting. Now, let me give you an example of how this plays out in modern reality. I said before, if they wanted to take hold of the food chain and it was about money, they could have. We couldn't have stopped them. We'd moan and we'll scream. But because the whole system's corrupt, they'd get away with it, wouldn't they? But they didn't. And the reason they didn't is because God owns that creation, because he created it, like he created the earth, like he created us. God owns the food. He created the carrot. We'll just concentrate on the carrot as an example of all of it. So how did they take control of it? Because they did. Well, they had to genetically modify it to enough of a percentile so that in God's law, it wasn't now God's creation. Now, it looked like a carrot, it smelled like a carrot, but genetically it wasn't a carrot. And that's what they've done to people with the vaccine. They've changed a third of their genome, which is enough for them to justify ownership. Most of us know that God has, like a painter signs a painting, God has signed his own name in our DNA, 10565, with the gene bridges, and that spells out in the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh. So he's signed his name. We're owned by him. He created us, and he also owned and created the food. So they had to genetically modify it. It's true, even in the fashion industry. If I go and get a genuine Gucci jacket, and I don't know what it is, I've forgotten, it's maybe 12 or 14 or 16 minor changes to that garment. Thinner thread, different colour thread, different zip, different stitch pattern, slightly different blend in the material. But on the surface, it looks exactly like that Gucci jacket, exactly like it. But I've done enough of a percentile of changes, I can own it. I can sell it, as long as I don't call it Gucci, and it's not fraud. And that's what they've done with us, with genetically modified food. That's what GMOs are for. That's ownership. So when you understand that, you start to more deeply, especially when you read the Bible and Job and stuff like that, you start to understand really what's going on here. Now, I'm going to explain later what's actually the real motive behind all that, because a lot of people think it's 5G, it's control, it's all this, it's all that, and they're not wrong, but there's something more behind it than that. It's something much more historical and biblical, and that's the problem. But the surface has to be explored as well, which is this. Now, this is I've known about this for a while, but this has become more and more apparent with a couple of little videos that have come out recently. There was a woman just recently, and it's on my BitChute channel, where she discussed about, she was a whistleblower, she's wearing a white mask. I think most people have seen it by now, where she's saying, I don't know if these numbers are correct, but roughly speaking, the first vaccine had 25% dirty stuff in it, 75% saline. The second one had the reverse, 75% dirty, 25%, these numbers are not accurate, 25%, saline. The third one, though, is a direct, further but final almost attack on your white blood cells. It's got 81 strains of bacteria, so on and so forth. And I think she's absolutely correct on that sort of plan, but she's wrong when she assumes it's about money. None of this is about money. Don't forget they can print their own money. Not one thing about this anymore is about money. It's about control and revenge. Now, when you look at what she said, this is the most important part, because she's not wrong. I'm not sure it happens after the third one, though. I think it might happen after the fifth or sixth. However, what she said I think is quite right, which is they're going to get each patient that's taken, say, from the third, they're going to get the vaccine, into such a state where they're begging for, because their immune systems are so low and their white blood cell counts are so low, they're becoming like, Tom Hanks in Philadelphia, an AIDS victim. She even said that the HIV virus is in there. But why? Why do they want that? They want that, as she said, to keep people completely dependent on life by taking these vaccines, exactly like a diabetic, a type 1 diabetic. So instead of trying to convince everybody to take the vaccine, now you've got people begging them for the treatment, it will be called. It wouldn't be called the vaccine at that stage, and that's a game changer for this reason. If you look at technology in computing since, say, the 80s, let's call it 1988, and you take it from in a chart up to today, well, we all remember that are old enough to remember that when computers first came out, as soon as you bought a computer, it was outdated, because every 3 to 6 months it doubled in power, doubled in speed. We all remember that. So when you look at the graph of power capacity from the 80s to now, there's a couple of little spikes, but it just goes basically in a straight line, And then today it goes straight up. You can't have I'm not wise enough to know this, but I don't think you can have a technology advancement over 30 years that just goes straight up, 1 year. And that's what's happened with AI. So what's actually going on here is about AI, and I think we have to understand this at least as an option. When you see the other video that most people have seen now is the Christian father showing the dialogue with his Christian son speaking to the AI program, and the AI program admitting it was Nephilim, admitting that it was the son of Satan himself, and blah, blah, blah. But it was quite obvious to anyone that would look that AI stands for alien interface. Interface being the key word, because aliens, as we know, mean demons. There's no aliens, there's a dome over the earth. It's demons. These guys, these elite, I mean, there's plenty of proof to show this. They've been working in underground bases with demons for years. I'm talking about underground bases that go in an elevator and go down like 200 floors, you know, that type of scale. So what's in it for the demons? The demons have got, AI proves the demons have got the knowledge, a supernatural knowledge. Don't forget they've been roaming the earth for thousands of years. They want to be back in the flesh. They want to communicate with man and be back in the flesh. So the stage for that now, I suppose stage one was bodysuits, you know, all these alien things you think you see. But I think stage two is the AI, what everyone thinks is AI. It's too supernatural of a power, of a, you know, shift in technology. When you see one of them admit it, especially from a Christian family, it makes it all very clear what's coming. When you look at the technological advances since the 80s in computer power, well, we know the AI takes a lot of computing power to be able to react so quickly and keep up with the demons. And that's what I believe they've done to manufacture a position where you have to take a vaccine or a treatment every day or every week, because at that point you're going to be getting more and more software to be able to allow the platform inside you to grow. You're going to be getting more and more DNA and more synthetic DNA, and as you're getting injected, a bit like a junkie in a way, your soul's just going to be more and more depleted. And I think the ultimate objective for demons is to actually have your body as a host to their spirit and completely take it over. I think also, this is a guess, but I think it's an educated guess. I think the immortal therapy is there, it's understood, but I don't think they have access to it yet. I think that the deal that the demons have made with the elite, obviously there's got to be something in it for both sides. I think the demons have got the immortal therapy answer, but they're not going to give it up until they're in the body. I also think that if there's 100% of people that are in the process of getting their software into the, you know, say they're taking the genome, the vaccine every day, every week, and in that stage and getting boosted up, I think you'd be lucky if 15% survive, because the body might not take it. But I certainly think that that's the agenda, that they're trying to get the body to be powerful enough, computing-wise, to be able to host the demon and his power of how he operates that body.